Imagine waking up under a mountain of debt. In 2023, global debt soared to an astonishing $307 trillion, rising every second like a terrifying clock. That's more money than almost any single human mind can imagine, more than the combined annual output of many continents. Every dollar we earn is now shadowed by interest payments on this mountain of loans. If this debt grows unchecked, could the world economy collapse under its weight? Just a few generations ago, nations paid down debts and rebuilt after crises. After World War II, debt levels were manageable and fell steadily. By contrast, today even wealthy countries carry debt far greater than the wealth they produce. For example, as of 2025, the U.S. federal government owes roughly $38 trillion, about $111,000 for every person living in the country. Globally, public and private debt now tops approximately $307 trillion, about 336% of world GDP. In 2022, it was around $235 trillion, meaning we are borrowing faster than ever before. It's like owing $3 for every $1 you make. Nearly two-thirds of that debt is owed by governments and corporations. The past 20 years of wars, pandemic relief, and easy money policies have fueled an insatiable borrowing spree. Governments now spend like credit cards with no plan to pay off the balance. Even central banks have piled on trillions in emergency loans and bond purchases, assuming someone else would handle it later. Meanwhile, real income and GDP growth have lagged, so the burden feels even heavier. As the IMF warns, global debt appears to have returned to its historical upward trend. Debt is deceptively tricky. Think of it like a rolling snowball. Each turn adds more snow. Every year, economies borrow fresh money just to pay the interest on last year's loans, a classic Ponzi-like trap. When interest rates were near zero, this was invisible. Cheap money lulled everyone into complacency. Servicing massive debt was cheap, like paying only credit card minimums. But that cushion ends when rates rise. Today, central banks around the world have hiked rates to fight inflation. Higher rates mean every economy, business, and household must pay far more interest each month. It's like opening your email to see an enormous credit card bill you can't afford. Governments now pay hundreds of billions annually just in interest alone. IMF data shows total global debt to GDP is at a peacetime high. Even more striking, global private debt households and companies was about 146% of GDP in 2022, roughly $144 trillion. Our modern world runs on borrowed money, and the cost of borrowing is climbing. What happens if the music stops? Economic history holds the cautionary tales. When debts become too large, eventually something breaks. The 2008 crisis started with a $700 billion housing crash but caused a global meltdown. Now imagine similar shocks on a vastly larger scale. If a major economy like the US or China defaults, credit markets would freeze, lenders would panic. Banks could collapse and markets could plunge. Imagine if suddenly no one trusted the dollar or the yuan. Everywhere, fuel and food prices might spike as buyers fear shortages. There's also hyperinflation. If people lose faith in their currency, prices can run out of control, as happened in Zimbabwe, where once stable money became worthless. A loaf of bread that cost a few cents might cost millions. If a major global player faced that, the effects would cascade worldwide. On the flip side, we could see a classic debt-deflation scenario. Everyone tightens spending, investment grinds to a halt, and the economy crashes into recession or depression, potentially for years. A debt collapse wouldn't spare anyone. Even ordinary people would feel it. Banks might freeze accounts to prevent panic runs, as happened in Cyprus. And governments might impose strict capital controls or launch harsh austerity to regain trust. Social programs could be slashed and taxes hiked. Protests and unrest could follow. We saw this in Greece and elsewhere when debt soared. Global trade would sputter, suppliers would demand cash up front. Shortages of everyday items could occur. The poorest people would suffer the most, losing jobs and savings. Meanwhile, the richest could hunker down, buying hard assets like gold or real estate as safe havens. Politically, the fallout could be immense. Weaker countries might fall under new spheres of influence as former powers retreat into isolation to fix their finances. We might see a resurgence of more local, fragmented economies as trust in global systems crumbles. Is this disaster inevitable? The truth is complicated. Some argue we live in an era too big to fail, meaning governments and central banks will always prop up the system with bailouts. That happened after 2008 and again during COVID. But each bailout adds to the pile. Some theorists call for a debt jubilee, a massive write-off of debt, but no one knows how to implement that fairly. Others push for painful austerity or for policies to spur growth so debts shrink relative to GDP. One message is clear. We cannot ignore this forever. As the IMF cautions, debt is back on an upward march. We have built a house of cards on borrowed time. It may wobble for a while, but the invisible hand might eventually let it fall. We must ask ourselves, how will this end? So, what do you think? Is global debt a hidden time bomb, or will innovation save the day? Let me know in the comments below, and let's have a real talk about our financial future.